Now, welcome to another Let's Talk Some Star Wars, where once again this week we're going to answer some questions. We're going to take some of those questions from the Thor Lightning response videos and answer as many as possible. And as has been the case the last couple of these, I'm going to bring my wife in, Sailor Naboo. We have a channel together. You can go check it out. If you enjoy this video, you might enjoy what we do over there. She's going to pick out some questions. She's going to ask me from some of the other videos, of course. And let's get right to it, right?
Right. We'll start out with Mark Z. Hey Thor, do you think Ahsoka's story should have ended in the Twilight of the Apprentice episode of Rebels? I mean, they had to invent their version of time travel to bring her back.
I think if it ends there, that would have been a great moment in the story of Darth Vader. But her surviving is a great story potential now for Ahsoka. I think she can finally get out from underneath Anakin/Vader's shadow.
Kind of become more of her own standalone character now that Vader is gone.
Yeah, she has a chance to do something for herself now, to become kind of, you know, not just Vader's apprentice.
Mark.
Yeah, exactly. To do something with her story now, which isn't to say what has come before hasn't been fantastic, but this is a chance for her to move beyond that. So I'm okay that she didn't die there. I think it would have, again, I think it would have been great for Vader's story if she had. As for the time travel to bring her back, the weird thing is, like, they didn't have to. Like, we see at the end of that episode that she's walking under the temple on Malachor. So they could have come up with another explanation as to how she survives.
They could have just said that maybe some rubble was falling in the middle of their duel and they were separated and had to walk separate paths to escape. I don't know. Yeah,
it was a really strange thing to invent that or bring that in for no true reason.
Next question from Raz Edigi. Hey Thor, what do you think they'll do with Captain Rex in Ahsoka? I think they'll kill him in some bad way to get some cheap emotions out of fans. I really don't want that to happen. Rex is my favorite character in Star Wars, and he went through so much fighting for the Republic and the Rebellion. He deserves to live out the rest of his day in a quiet farm somewhere, or something like that. I really hope we don't get another Gregor death scene like in Rebels.
He should die of old age. There's no other way around that.
Yes, I would love it if he just could, you know, get
after all the fighting,
ending, his calm end.
Yeah. In fact, I could see him dying of old age in Ahsoka. Like that.
Maybe she's coming to visit him on his deathbed as he's exiting this world. Yeah,
Rex is a hard one to kind of bring into the series because if that was what is going to happen, if they go there just to have like this weird death scene, like a lot of people are going to be like, what is this even about? Who's this Rex guy? Mm-hmm. Why does Ahsoka have such an attachment to him?
Or a time travel thing like we see him in whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if Rex isn't in there. I'd be stunned if Filoni actually kills him for some kind of cheap emotional impact.
Maybe he just doesn't see it as a cheap emotional impact. Maybe he sees it as, I'm giving him the hero's death he deserves.
If he dies like a hero, okay, that's one thing. If it's kind of like his choice to do something that saves the day, that's one thing. If he kind of has as the comment points out, like kind of a cheap death just to hit us in the feels, I don't want that. I think most people just want him to die of old age or something or not die at all. Do we need to see him quote unquote die? Can't we just visit the farm where he's at and just assume that's where he lives out his days peacefully and
maybe Ahsoka will just visit his grave and we'll find out he did live a quiet life.
That could be too. Maybe he's not in the series at all. Maybe we just hear about him, mentioned.
Well, because the rumors are going around that Tamora Morrison's going to be in there playing Rex, but there's also the rumor going around right now that he's going to be in Mandalorian Season 4. So maybe the rumors are connected in a way that, like, someone saw him reading lines, like, on a beach or something. Yeah,
there was that video of him.
In and out of Lucasfilm Studios, and people are going, oh, he's going to be in this show, or he's going to be in this show. Maybe he's in one, but not the other.
Who knows? I think he's going to be in this, but I don't think he's going to have, like, an actual big role to play.
Maybe he's in there playing Boba Fett.
That's quite possible too, actually.
It's another possibility. Next question is coming from Monarch Music. Hey Thor, do you think that Dave Filoni may bring back Rebels side characters like Kallus or Hondo? How would you feel about it?
Kallus, yes. Hondo, it depends on how he's used.
I could see Hondo showing up in Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, I think there's a much better chance of him being in Skeleton Crew.
Quirkiness might fit better with that show.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I love Hondo.
And Hondo never really hung out. I mean, they weren't a real... I mean...
It was more with Anakin and Obi-Wan than...
Yeah, and then in Rebels, it was pretty much just with, like, Ezra for the most part. It wasn't really an Ahsoka kind of character. Either was Kallus.
No, but if Zeb is in this, I could see Kallus. I don't know, like...
Kallus is his bud.
Yeah, they're good friends, so...
They're fellow Fulcrum agents, Kallus and Ahsoka.
That's true too. There could actually be a connection. That could be a good reason that well, not that they're going to be Fulcrum agents anymore, but they couldn't have known each other through the Fulcrum program.
I don't know if Fulcrums get to know about other Fulcrums.
No, I know. You don't
like
really
that
know
would
their
be
identity. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. But no, I could see both. I think Hondo almost definitely in Skeleton Crew.
I feel like it seems appropriate.
Much more likely.
Next from Damian Green. Hey Thor, do you think Grogu will be in the new Rey movie? I'm 99% sure he will be, and he would only be 80 years old and probably entering some kind of teenage years, thus making him more of a factor, character-wise, and story development.
I'd go 100% on that, actually. I think there's almost no way he's not going to be in that, and part of the new Jedi Order. By that point, Din Djarin going to be either really old or really not alive anymore.
That's sad.
It's sad, but it's true. So, I mean, he's such a popular character. He's their cash cow right now. I can't see them not putting him in that movie to try to lure in people who maybe aren't a fan of Rey.
Rey's new Force dyad.
Force dyad.
She needs a replacement calf of the dyad, and
no, I don't see anything like that. But I would say pretty much 99.9%. I'd be very surprised if they don't put Grogu in that movie and have him be somehow part of the new Jedi Order, and he will be probably talking at that point.
It's like saying BB-8 won't be in the movie.
Yeah, BB-8 will be in there too.
Kidding? Grogu's gonna be riding BB-8.
Oh my god, like a little balancing thing. Oh boy.
Hitting his no button.
Please no. Hit my own button on that one.
Next from Funhouse 617. Hey Thor, how do you feel about the Old Republic being brought into canon? Do you feel that Disney will taint the property with modern ideology?
I think they'd have a great opportunity to do it because you would be talking a lot of politics. I mean, you could make it I hate to use the comparison because I don't think it'd be exactly like that, but you could kind of do the Game of Thrones style thing with the Old Republic, right?
You're talking about like the seriousness of the Game of Thrones?
Both the seriousness, the different kind of characters, the different kind of factions or nations, or they wouldn't be nations, planets yeah. And that sort of thing. I think it could be the most exciting thing Star Wars could do in a lot of ways. But I would fear, not even just necessarily putting modern ideology into it, but just not getting it right. It's such a fun time period, such a good time period that I want them to do it, but it would be such a tragedy if they do it wrong.
Have you ever heard the tragedy of when the Old Republic was brought to
Yeah,
canon?
exactly. Like they've had enough kind of missteps. To misstep with that too would be.
Right, they need to be on a winning track record, you're saying, before you'll be more comfortable with them saying, hey guys, we're bringing you Revan.
Well, yeah, I think that would be cool. Say 10 years from now, Kennedy's gone. Maybe we got a whole new leadership going on. Maybe things are on a different track. Maybe we feel more confident with the leadership and just the creative direction. Yeah, then do it. I mean, as long as you got the right people who really want to do this time period right, because you can do it wrong spectacularly. As long as you get the right people, I'd be all for it, but maybe not right now.
Next question is from Tyler Hone. Hey Thor, I often think about what would be different if The Force Awakens went 30 seconds longer and ended with Luke saying something along the lines of, I was hoping you would find me. Something like that, so that Ryan didn't have complete freedom getting to work off the cliffhanger Force Awakens left off on. Thoughts on if Episode 8 would have been different, and the whole trilogy if Force Awakens went just a little longer.
Well, the problem with that is actually Rian Johnson did write The Last Jedi before The Force Awakens came out. He actually changed the ending of The Force Awakens. Originally, Rey finds Luke with rocks floating around him using the Force, and that's how the movie ends. So, I mean, to still answer the question, I think had the movie been a little longer and had the mystery been revealed, had Luke said something, had they had a conversation and, it's confirmed who she is, like either you're my daughter, you're not my daughter, you're this, you're that, and then we go into the next movie and we can have a time jump. I think that would have been, in hindsight, that probably would have been the best thing they ever could have done. Instead of just leaving this giant cliffhanger, 2 years of speculation only to have, an answer a lot of people didn't like, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, it was, it wasn't so much that Ryan had complete freedom as much as he did. He got to change the ending of The Force Awakens to fit what he had already written.
Next comment from MTS. Hey Thor, what do you think is the best watch order if you're introducing someone to Star Wars for the first time?
I'd probably go release order. I think it's just that's the way they came out. That's the way most people experienced it. You could make an argument for prequels first, I think, or some other ways of doing it.
No, I think if they have no knowledge of Star Wars, if they don't know any of the twists, I would say go release order. Some people say you do there's like a hybrid order where you do 4, 5 until a certain point, then you do 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, you kind of treat the prequels as a flashback in a way.
Right.
Between 5 and 6, yeah.
Yeah, between 5 and 6, you go and watch 1, 2, and 3, and then come back to the story.
I think how much they may or may not know about Star Wars would impact that too. If they already know about the big twist, if they know Vader is Luke's father, is Anakin Skywalker, then I think I could recommend the prequel way of doing things more.
Go from the beginning.
Yeah, so if they have
throw
like a
Rogue One in there.
Yeah, I mean, why not? If they have like a rudimentary understanding of Star Wars and the big twist, then you can make the argument for the prequels. But if not, if they know nothing, I'd go release order. Original trilogy first, into the prequels.
Final question from Vetralit Torf. Hey Thor, I've been wondering, what if the prequels had been made in 1987, 1990, and 1993 as originally planned? Personally, I think Johnny Depp would be cast as Anakin because at the time he was the right age and had that rebel without a cause vibe. I also think that both sides of the Clone Wars would use clones because of the limited computer technology. Lastly, I think Naboo, Coruscant, Tatooine, Geonosis, and Mustafar would be relatively the same with a few tweaks. I think the rest of the other planets we saw would be considerably different, but what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with most of that. I agree with the Johnny Depp thing because he was really looking for a kind of a James Dean, as you say, rebel without a cause kind of thing. So pretty likely that Anakin Skywalker would be Johnny Depp. I think the big difference is, as you kind of point out, no Jar Jar Binks, or if he is in there, he's not going to be obviously CGI. He's going to be someone in a suit. So there might be a character similar to him, and he might have actually been a little more toned down because he was kind of more restricted by being in that suit rather than being able to go over top with him, kind of animated style. But I do think a lot of the things would be relatively the same because a lot of people are under the assumption that everything was CGI in the prequels when there were a lot of miniatures. There were a lot of... I mean, episode 2 with the clones... I mean, there were no real clone troopers, so that's interesting that you point out that with both sides use clones, and I think they'd actually probably would do something like that, but then they'd have to all be in suits. It would be pretty crazy. I don't know that you could do the scale of those battles without the CGI. That would be one of the biggest. That would absolutely be one of the biggest challenges and probably changes. It would probably feel smaller in scale.
A lot of the clones were actually CGI.
All of the clones were CGI in the prequels. It was just Tamora Morrison's head.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think there was an actual clone suit made for the prequels. They're never actually there. So that would probably be one of the biggest changes. You would have to figure out how to do that on such an epic scale to really portray the Clone Wars as this massive event across the galaxy and all these different troops. And yeah, that would be the hard part. I think that would be the biggest change. I think the Clone Wars would not feel as epic as they do now. But I do think many of the planets and stuff would be the same. But that's a hard question. There's a lot of things that could change, a lot of things you could get into with that one. But for now, that's going to be all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think of any of these responses. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or you can always leave a question for a future lightning response video. Just start that comment off with "Hey Thor" and then ask your question. Whatever you choose to do, leave a comment below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.